Hey, it's Nick. This is another Fix It in 5, and today we are going to help you solve one of your ministry's problems in 5 minutes or 5 steps, whatever is less. And today we're going to take your 2022 goals and we're going to make them action steps. We're going to put them into a project scope because that is going to help make sure that you are going to achieve your 2022 goals. Now, why do we need a project scope, you might be asking, and I'll tell you why. Visibility and communication is key in leading a team. If you're going to lead a team, which you're going to need to do in order to achieve your goals, you are going to have visibility and communication. The second thing is it's going to allow for bad questions to go bye-bye and good questions to take their place. And the reason for that is if you're a verbal only, organization, and then you had a meeting 3 weeks ago and then you're trying to remember, did we say that? Did we say this? Having documentation is going to allow for those redundant questions that keep coming up every meeting to go away and for you to have good questions take their place. And finally, it's going to give you a clarity of objective. You're going to be clear on where you are going. And this is so important. So how about me and you for the next 5 minutes, take a look and build a project scope together. This is a scope of work. These are your goals. And this is how it breaks down. And then we're going to look at one that I've already prepared for you. A scope of work, it's really for your goals. And as you look at objective, it's where do you want to focus your attention? That's your objective. The executive summary is really important too. It's why is this important? Now, this is where you give context to why it is important and vital to the mission and vision of your organization. It is so important to make sure that you codify this with your ministry goals as you look at this executive summary. If you don't have an executive summary, it's not going to connect back to the mission and vision of your organization, and people are going to be asking the question, why are we doing this? Having the executive summary, in my opinion, is one of the top things to think through as you work on your scope of work documentation. Next is key outcomes. What are the things that we want to be achieved, and a timeline? What are the key dates and the milestones? And then the nice thing about this is this can start to roll into a weekly meetings document. Let me show you what I mean. Let's go down a bit and let's talk about, let's say the scope of work for your organization is to launch a hybrid ministry, like a home church / online / anywhere type of scope of work. And that's what you want to see. And so the objective is to focus on launching a new hybrid online ministry model. Good for you, thinking forward. That's awesome. Forward thinking. Good for you. Executive summary. We've seen a decline in our person attendance, and we want to reach people who are not coming to church but still love our vision and our values. That's key. That's important because you've targeted who this is for. People who love your vision and values, who are not coming to church but still love that, and so you can still have that connection point with them. Key outcomes is you want to have more people in community groups, online groups, and more frequent in-person attendance. This is a great goal because just the reality of what we live in. This is great. What is a timeline? It looks like we could do this within 8 weeks. Here we go. So then we start with our meeting number 1. Kickoff meeting is Mike, Kyle, Didi, and I'm in that meeting as well. So what we decide is we're going to have to set a roadmap. Kyle and Mike can do that. They'll have that by next week. Next is to investigate what is needed for streaming, because currently our ministry does not stream. So Nick and Kyle will also work on that as well. And then finally, we also have to talk to our groups and see if our groups will buy into this, our current community groups. And then we also have to provide some documentation for them in order to understand, what are we trying to solve here? What are some key steps and some processes? And so Didi and Mike will have that by next week. And then what that allows us to do is then we start to bring in other people into this project, because one thing that's going to happen is when you bring in other people who you might not have influence or you might not be able to control what they're doing, you have to have buy-in. This document gives great buy-in. So as we look at our next meeting, we all looked at the roadmap. There's nothing to do there. We saw it, but we have to review the budget for stream and setup. So Nick and Rupert, our CFO, will order those items. We actually reviewed it. Looks good. That'll be next week. As we reviewed the host documentation, Didi and Chad, who leads our online groups and our in-person community groups, need to upload that to the website. Oh, excuse me, Chad is actually our web guy. And so creating a landing page, that's for design and that's for Chad. Upload to the church app, that's Chad. And then the CCB group, or the back-end church management software group, Chad's also doing that. Start marketing. Well, since Patrick is over marketing, he needs to send by February 2nd the design to Chad, review copy, and working on ads. And as you see, as your team grows in order to achieve your goals, you're going to have to say who was in charge of this, what day was is this ready for, and what are the things that we're doing? This is key in order to having a successful scope for your projects. So there you have it. There is your project scope. The nice thing about this is you can bring this into your task management software like Asana or ClickUp. And if you don't have that fancy tracking software, no worries. Just attach it to the calendar invite for your next scope meeting. People are going to appreciate that you gave them a heads up of what's on the agenda before the meeting starts. It's a win-win-win. And you might be telling me, Nick, you know what? I don't know if I have the team or if I have the talent on my staff in order to achieve my 2022 ministry goals. And to that, I will say that's why Kingdom One exists. We are here to offer ministry talent that is on demand, that's an easy subscription process. There are no contracts, there are no percentages. It is a low cost for churches of any size. If that sounds like something that you are interested in, go to kingdomone.co/services today and hit the green Get Started button. Until we chat again, I hope we can grow the church together. Peace.